In Shanghai, China, within the Pudong New District, an incredible event took place. Zhang Yong Shing received a tip one day and rushed into action, only to be met with a horrifying sight. A baby elephant, locked inside a container by smugglers, left hungry and thirsty, abandoned to die in the darkness. The poor animal had been trapped in the airless, scorching metal box for days. Shing rescued it, but the real story was only just beginning. Years later, when that elephant and Shing met again, something happened that you wouldn't believe with your own eyes. Zhang Yong Shing had a childhood dream: to extend a helping hand to animals in need. Growing up surrounded by nature, he developed a deep admiration, particularly for large mammals. His family often had him watch wildlife documentaries and took him on nature excursions. One day, during a visit to a wildlife park with his family, the gentle movements of a massive elephant deeply touched him. From that moment on, he developed a special interest in elephants. Turning to his father, he said, "When I grow up, I'll be a friend to elephants." This dream would eventually lead him to the Shanghai Wildlife Park. From a young age, his profound love for nature and animals set him on a lifelong journey of learning. He first studied zoology and later pursued veterinary medicine, but even that wasn't enough for him. Over the years, he worked tirelessly, took specialized training, and gained hands-on experience. When he finally graduated at the top of his class, his family beamed with pride. Yet something still felt missing. He didn't just want to treat animals, he wanted to truly understand their world. Determined, he specialized in the care and rehabilitation of tropical animals. Through internships at various zoos and wildlife parks, he gained invaluable experience. Shing had one goal in mind: to turn his dream into reality. And every new experience brought him one step closer. When he stepped into Shanghai Wildlife Park as the youngest animal caretaker, he had no idea that his life was about to change forever. In his early days, he observed different sections of the park, learning the intricacies of animal care. From big cats to reptiles, birds to primates, he worked with a variety of species. But it was the elephant enclosure that truly captivated him. The special bond between elephant keepers and their animals mesmerized him. He didn't have a favorite elephant yet, but things were about to change with the beginning of an unforgettable friendship. One afternoon, his peaceful break was interrupted by the ringing of his phone. On the line was a customs officer from the port, his voice shaking with panic. A group of officers had discovered a baby elephant trapped inside a container under horrifying conditions. Shing's heart pounded. This was his first real battle against illegal wildlife trafficking, and it was for a baby elephant. Hours later, as he stood at the zoo's entrance, anxiously awaiting the unfortunate animal's arrival, a mix of excitement and concern filled his heart. The baby elephant was weak, but still standing. Shing insisted that it not be rushed off the truck. The animal needed to move at its own pace. It had to feel safe first. Only then could it begin to adapt. Shing knew this very well. Customs officers revealed that the calf had been smuggled before a major poaching operation in Zimbabwe. It had been rescued just in time, thanks to a swift intervention by Border Patrol. However, there was a tragic side to this rescue story. Its herd had been attacked by poachers, and the adult elephants had met a horrific fate. The fact that this little one was still alive was nothing short of a miracle. Shing and the customs officer named it Holy, meaning sacred. However, Holy carried deep scars from the trauma it had endured. Hours passed, but it didn't dare step out of the truck. Shing waited patiently. Finally, after 4 hours, it took hesitant steps toward the enclosure. Emaciated and frail, it struggled to walk. After exploring its new surroundings, Shing carefully approached. But Holy, frightened, hid behind a large rock and didn't come out until the next morning. The head veterinarian's examination determined that Holy was about 5 years old and severely malnourished. Besides physical difficulties, the attack on its family and the cruelty it had suffered at the hands of humans left it in a state of deep fear. It had lost all trust in people and avoided any physical contact. This was going to be a tough challenge for Shing, but he never lost patience. He would never force Holy to accept anything. Instead, he chose to earn its trust gradually. Every morning he would arrive early and spend an hour silently sitting near Holy. He tried to comfort it with fruits, nuts, small games, and even music. At night after work, he would stay in the enclosure for hours to ensure Holy didn't feel alone. As weeks passed, an unspoken yet powerful bond began to form between them. Then one day, Holy did something unexpected. It gently placed its trunk on Shing's shoulder. This was a sign of trust and friendship. That moment became one of the happiest in Shing's life. This was exactly what he had dreamed of. Years passed, Holy grew into a strong and majestic elephant. Shing too grew older, but their friendship never changed. Holy was Shing's best friend, and their bond only deepened over time. But time waits for no one. Shing eventually had to leave to care for his aging mother in his hometown. Parting from Holy was the hardest decision of his life. Many people described them as father and son. They had become an inseparable duo. But time showed no mercy. When retirement came, Shing was heartbroken. Leaving Holy was the most painful choice he had ever made. On his last day, he hugged Holy tightly. He had promised himself not to get too emotional, but he couldn't hold back his tears. Holy, not fully understanding why his friend was so sad, simply watched. When Shing left, Holy began to wait. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. But Shing never returned. For months, Holy stood by, longing for his best friend. Each passing day felt emptier. Time had lost its meaning. All he did was wait for Shing. 2 years later, Shing's mother passed away. The grief was overwhelming, and no matter what he did, he couldn't fill the void in his heart. Seeing his father's sorrow, Shing's youngest son came up with a plan to take him back to Shanghai, to the place he loved the most, the wildlife park. He hoped this surprise would ease his father's pain. As soon as they arrived, Shing knew what was happening. They had come to see Holy. It was a sensitive subject for him. His heart pounded with excitement. After all these years, the two friends were about to reunite. But what if Holy had forgotten him? What if he no longer wanted to see him? After all, 2 years had passed. Their bond had been suddenly severed. With these thoughts swirling in his mind, he stepped into Holy's enclosure, only to witness something unbelievable. The mighty elephant let out a joyful trumpet. Lifting its trunk into the air, it stomped excitedly, nearly bouncing on its feet. Shing broke into tears. Holy had not forgotten him. This was loyalty, the unwavering bond between an animal and a human. Shing ran to embrace Holy, and just as he had always done, Holy gently placed its trunk on Shing's head. In that moment, the emptiness in Shing's heart was filled once again. Holy had never planned to forget or abandon him. He had simply waited, no matter how long it took, because he was always his best friend. And so what had once started as a childhood dream turned into a friendship that defied time. Holy and Shing's story became one of the most beautiful examples of the bond between humans and nature. Unconditional love is never forgotten, and this story was proof of that. Please don't forget to like the video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe to the channel.